March 6, 1836, the Alamo became the site for one of the most celebrated battles in American history. Now, more than 157 years later, the newly created Alamodome will become the site for one of the most celebrated battles in boxing history. It's five-time world champion Pernell Whitaker versus five-time world champion Julio Cesar Chavez. Now come behind the scenes for the tactics, the strategies, and the firepower as we focus in on the fight. Whitaker versus Chavez.
I am an entertainer. I like to call myself an entertainer because I go out there to entertain. Anybody can go out there and just put punches together. It's that little flair that you have, that little I'm always putting on some shaking and baking. That's just the way I fight.
I don't get nervous. I'm just trying to fight my best fight. Trying to find a way to give him a good beating. To make my punches connect. Sometimes I hear voices in my head. But during the fight, when I concentrate, I don't hear anything.
Every fight that I prepare for is the fight of my life. People only remember the last time. In this game, you lose one fight, you may not get that second chance again. The man with the best preparation wins the fight.
In training, I don't like to plan my strategy. I plan my strategy in the ring. All my fights are difficult. I'm going to fight as I always do.
This fight coming up with Chavez, I'm not looking for any knockouts. I'm not even looking to destroy him. I'm just going to humiliate him. I don't think he's ever been in the ring with a fighter with on the same caliber as he is. And that's what makes great fights.
When he fights me, I'll expose his weaknesses. If he thinks he's gonna play with me, he's definitely wrong. I'm gonna hurt him.
The WBC Welterweight Championship bout between Pernell Whitaker and Julio Cesar Chavez does not have an extravagantly ornate title or rhyming name like Rumble in the Jungle and Thrilla in Manila. Instead, it's simply entitled The Fight. For when you put two of the world's best pound-for-pound fighters inside the ring, you don't need any fancy superlatives or excessive hyperbole. Now, during the course of this show, we'll be uncovering the secrets and strategies surrounding this fight, as well as looking at these two men who have each won 5 world titles in 3 different weight classes. That's all coming up on Focus, The Fight, Whitaker versus Chavez.
But first, the Battle of the Alamo was a furious one, teeming with strategic and tactical import, not to mention some high-concept movie premises. With this in mind, the boxing world now submits some lessons to be learned from this historic heavyweight tilt.
Never wear a coonskin cap into the ring.
Being a promoter, I would certainly advise my fighter to try to bring into the ring with them their Riddick Bowie knife.
If you find that you're outnumbered 20 to 1 too often, then you should definitely change promoters.
I would have hid behind the gentleman.
Don't get caught in the corner.
Scout your opposition. Always be prepared. Don't believe the press releases.
That's Parker. He was a pretty good middleweight, if I'm not mistaken.
Keep your trunks up. Run like hell.
We Texans and we Americans will be there to the end.
Pernell Whitaker, Julio Cesar Chavez, the two best pound-for-pound fighters in the fight the world's been waiting for. Order the fight on pay-per-view and catch every incredible round live from the Alamodome in San Antonio this September. And now, through this special TV offer, you can feel like you're ringside for all the excitement. Order your official fight gear by calling 1-800-453-4100.
Hi, I'm Don King, promoter extraordinaire. If you can't be with me here in San Antonio where the action is, you still can be part of the action. Order your fight gear. I got mine. Get yours.
To order, just call 1-800-453-4100. The official T-shirt comes in large and extra large and costs $22. The hat is one size fits all and costs $18. And here's a knockout offer. Order the shirt and the hat for a super discount price of just $35.95, and we'll give you the official fight poster, a $10 value, absolutely free. Call 1-800-453-4100 to order your official Chavez-Whitaker fight gear now. Operators are standing by.
Get your thing, baby.
Julio Cesar Chavez had his first professional fight less than 1 month after Ronald Reagan became president. Since then, over the last 14 years and more than 3 presidential terms, he has, on the average, fought once every 8 weeks without losing a single bout. But most impressively, during this 87-fight winning streak, he has made it look easy, beating good, sometimes great opposition without much difficulty. But now, for the first time in years, he faces a fighter many believe can beat him. We're talking, of course, about Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker.
I fought some tough fighters, and I've proven myself. I've beaten them all. So this is the only guy that stands in the way of me proving I'm the best pound for pound.
Whitaker's quest to be the best began when he became the only fighter to win amateur boxing's 3 most prestigious events: the World Championships, the Pan Am Games, and of course, the Olympics.
All of the things that I'm doing now is like icing on a cake. You know, it's the most important thing, the thing that I dreamed about all my life was completed in 1984.
His success continued into the professional ranks until his first title fight, when he lost a highly controversial decision to Jose Luis Ramirez.
The world saw it. They knew I won it. I knew I wanted these 10 rounds. I didn't get it, but that's okay. I didn't make a protest or anything. I said, let's go back to the drawing board and let's get a rematch.
He won the rematch easily, and over the next 10 years has continued to beat one world champion after another. Throughout his career, Whitaker, the perennial showman, has brought a controversial flamboyancy to all of his fights.
That's just the way I fight, and if I take that out of my arsenal, I'll be an average fighter. And when I do it, and they love it, then I love it.
Now he takes on the undefeated Julio Cesar Chavez. By the time Pernell Whitaker stepped into the ring for his first professional fight, Julio Cesar Chavez had already won 44 fights, knocked out 40 opponents, and earned his first world title. Since then, he has gone on to win 43 more fights, earned 4 more world titles, and compiled the greatest winning streak in all of sports. Now, although some think Whitaker can win this fight, others believe no one can beat the most successful fighter in the history of boxing, Julio Cesar Chavez.
I don't know what Whitaker's weaknesses are, because he's never really been hit.
Ever since Chavez stepped into the ring for his first professional fight, he has dominated his opponents with his relentless body attack and explosive power.
Julio Cesar Chavez is the new WBC Super Lightweight Champion of the world.
Chavez, born and raised in the rural mountains of northern Mexico, is his country's greatest national hero. Last year, when preparing for his fight with Greg Haugen in Mexico City, a public sparring session attracted 25,000 fans, including the president of the country. And 2 days later, the largest paying crowd in boxing history, 136,000 people filled Azteca Stadium to watch the fight.
And Chavez wants to go home. Hogan has never lost by knockout. This could be the first. Chavez unloading. And it's being stopped by Joe Cortez. It's all over.
But now, against Pernell Whitaker's dazzling speed and frustrating style, some believe Chavez faces his sternest test.
I think that in the first 3 or 4 rounds, he might be a little difficult. But as the fight progresses and I keep hitting him, I don't think he'll be able to take the pressure. Because I'm stronger and I hit harder.
Although Chavez has easily dominated virtually all of his opponents, 3 years ago he came within seconds of losing one of the most exciting, most controversial championship fights in recent memory. What happened during that bout? And how does it relate to this title fight with Pernell Whitaker? We'll find out as Focus, the fight, Whitaker versus Chavez, continues.
But first, if you think the Alamo would have made a hell of a prize fight, then take a trip back in time with us for a different kind of the tale of the tape. Although the numbers seem at the outset to overwhelmingly favor the Mexicans, the intangibles could play an important role in this bout. For instance, we know Davy Crockett can take a hit. Hell, he supposedly wrestles alligators to relax, while Santa Anna generally lets his men do the real fighting as he sits around designing swanky new uniforms for Napoleon wannabes. They both won lots of medals, but Crockett never wore his as they tended to bruise his buckskins. Crockett took a lot of burns, while Santa Anna got only one, and that was from lighting a fuse. Finally, don't overlook the fact that they all had to eat, and no one delivered till the mid-20th century.
87 times men have tried to beat Julio Cesar Chavez, and 87 times they have failed. This September, welterweight champion Pernell Whitaker will fight him to see who is the best fighter in the world. Will Whitaker be the first man to beat Chavez, or just another man who fails? The fight. Whitaker versus Chavez. Friday, September 10th. Live on pay-per-view. Call your cable company.
And Friday, September 10th, here in San Antonio, Texas, 2 of the world's best fighters, Pernell Whitaker and Julio Cesar Chavez, will meet for the WBC Welterweight title. Although both share a desire to be known as the greatest pound-for-pound fighter today, it's difficult to imagine 2 champions with more contrasting fighting styles. Whitaker toying with Haugen. Whoa! Chavez unfazed, toe-to-toe with Terrence Ali. Julio Cesar Chavez seemingly relentless. Pernell Whitaker with an awesome display of hand speed, keeping Greg Haugen pinned against the ropes with a furious barrage. Chavez pouring in, pounding away, and oh, what a shot to the head as Mitchell crumbles to the canvas. While the conflicting fighting styles of Pernell Whitaker and Julio Cesar Chavez are well documented, it's surprising how differently these 2 5-time champions prepare their strategies and formulate their tactics for the battle inside the ring. Other than choosing sparring partners with fighting styles similar to his opponent, Chavez pays little, if any, attention to the strengths and weaknesses of his opposition.
Sometimes I see them fight, but only once or twice.
Instead of entering the ring with a carefully planned strategy, Chavez goes straight at his opponent, improvising his attack as the bout progresses.
In training, I don't like to plan a strategy. I plan my strategy in the ring. By the first round, I know if the fight is going to be hard, and I know the way I have to fight.
Whitaker, however, never enters the ring without a game plan, carefully conceived by his manager, 71-year-old Lou Duva, who's earned a reputation for his meticulous approach to the tactics of the ring.
We teach how to beat an opponent. We lay out a game plan, and hey, if they follow it, they win. If they don't follow it, they lose. Fortunately, we haven't had too many losers.
I do everything they tell me to do. I do not go out of my way to do what I want to do in the ring. Everything I do in the ring is all for what they tell me. Because if anything happens in that fight and it doesn't work, and something happens where something tragic happens, I don't blame myself. I blame the corner. it's their fault.
Many believe Lou Duva has developed one of the most sophisticated and perhaps most effective teams in boxing. Over the last 4 decades, with the help of master strategist Georgie Benton and an eclectic collection of trainers and fitness experts, he has produced 13 world champions, including Mark Breland and, of course, Evander Holyfield. Yet he has never been able to beat Julio Cesar Chavez.
The 2 toughest fights that Chavez had were against my 2 guys, Rocky Lockridge and Melrick Taylor. So I'm 0-2 against him. I guarantee you I will not be 0-3.
The first loss happened in 1986 when Duva's fighter, the tough former WBA champ Rocky Lockridge, took Chavez the distance in a very hard fight.
It was hot out there, and he knew it was going to be a tough fight out there. So he also started slow. Had he started just a little faster and taken 1 round, just 1 round, I think we could have won the fight.
Almost 4 years later, in the spring of 1990, the second Duva fighter faced Chavez. He was Pernell Whitaker's close friend and former Olympic teammate, Meldrick Taylor.
When I saw Holyfield fight in his bow, that hurt me. And when I saw Tyrell fight Tyson, that hurt me. The biggest hurt I got was when I seen Meldrick lose.
Going into the final round, Taylor, who had boxed brilliantly, had built a substantial lead on the scorecards. But with only seconds remaining, Chavez landed a perfect right hand.
When I left that arena, I don't know where I went, because I thought the kid fought his heart out, you know, and it's too close, you know, and it was a devastating thing.
Sure, it's a heartbreaking loss for me, but it's a heartbreaking loss for the kid, for Melrick Taylor. But he fought his heart out. And with 2 seconds to go, you can't take it away from him.
Will Pernell Whitaker avenge the defeat of Meldrick Taylor and finally win one for Lou Duva? Or will Lou Duva now go 0-3 against Julio Cesar Chavez? This contest between these 2 5-time world champions has been scrutinized, talked about, and debated for years. And opinions for this one are bitterly divided.
Chavez Whitaker, I would be willing to bet my money, which is pretty important to me, that it'll go the distance. I think Pernell Whitaker is going to beat Julio Cesar Chavez, and he'll do what he has to convince at least 2 of the judges, if not all 3, that after 12 rounds, he gets a decision.
I like Chavez. I think Chavez is going to grind into the ground. I think he's going to get a late stoppage. Chavez Whitaker is going to be one of the finest fights of our time.
I see Whitaker beating Chavez out, you know, stick and move, speed, you know, a lot of speed. Hopefully that he's able to move like he early in his career, like Meldrick Taylor, just stick and move him and just kind of like outbox him for 12 rounds.
I predict, you know, a hard fight, you know, it'll be definitely a hard fight, strong fight. Whitaker, you know, he's not going to be easy to beat, but I feel that Chavez could, you know, stop him in his tracks.
I think Whitaker's the sharpest boxer in the game today. He's fast, he takes his time, relax, do a lot of thinking. I predict Whitaker.
Right now, I think Chavez is about the best fighter out there today. I would have to go with Chavez, depending if he's not too tired now to continue. If he only take one more good fight like this and put everything into that fight, I think Chavez.
I like Pernell Whitaker, not to take anything away from Chavez. I know this guy's not a lot of hype, but, you know, I still remember the Meldrick Taylor fight with Chavez, and Meldrick beat him. And here we have a guy who's a left-handed fighter who's a lot slicker than Meldrick. So, you know, it's a pick'em fight, but, you know, when you twist my arm and make me pick, I'll pick Pernell Whitaker.
I see Whitaker taking the lead in the earlies with his speed, lateral movements, actually outsmarting Chavez. But then I see Chavez coming on in the late with the tremendous body shots, with the heart of a lion, and actually taking it back from Whitaker. And I think I see him knocking him out.
Who will impose his will over the other? Will the speed frustrate Chavez, or will the brute strength and the relentlessness of Chavez eventually slow down Whitaker? It's a fascinating fight. I have not a clue as to who will eventually be psychologically stronger.
On the sheer power of numbers alone, the American troops, in spite of their incredible pluck, were sorely overmatched. In the spirit of the Alamo, then, we recall some of our favorite mismatches.
I was at one in May. Riddick Bowe and Jesse Ferguson. I had a harder fight getting to my seat than Riddick Bowe did.
Tyson Douglas. Tyson should have never been in there, man.
The worst boxing mismatch of all time would have had to have been the 5 guys that fought George Foreman.
State and federal court systems against Heidi Fleiss.
Chavez and Whitaker. That's the other great mismatch.
Like boxing, that's too many to choose from.
Remember the Alamo.
Julio Cesar Chavez. Pernell Whitaker. Whitaker, Chavez, the fight. Friday, September 10th, live on pay-per-view. Call your cable company.
Friday, September 10th, here in the Alamodome, a new 75,000-seat arena in San Antonio, Texas. 5-time world champions Pernell Whitaker and Julio Cesar Chavez will fight for the WBC Welterweight Championship and the right to be called the best pound-for-pound fighter today. Included on the Whitaker-Chavez card are 2 other title bouts featuring a pair of champions consistently ranked amongst the top fighters today. 3-time champion Azuma Nelson defends his super featherweight title against undefeated Jesse James Leija. Weighing in at only 130 pounds, veteran Azuma Nelson, with his stalking style and big punching power, brings heavyweight excitement to the featherweight and super featherweight division. But now, the 35-year-old champion takes on rising superstar Jesse James Leija, ranked number 3 by both the WBC and the IBF. And Terry Norris defends his WBC welterweight title against super slugger Joe Gaddy. Since winning his title, Norris has knocked out 7 out of his 10 opponents, 5 before the end of the 4th round. But now he's up against the hard-hitting Joe Gaddy, who has stopped all of his 15 KO victims within the first 3 rounds. And, of course, in the featured bout of the night, it's Whitaker versus Chavez in an intriguing matchup of style.
I may disappear in this fight and come back. But all the time, when he's looking that way, I'm going to be over that way.
Yeah, he thinks he's going to play with me. But he's wrong, because I'm going to hurt him.
But I'm looking forward to being an entertainer in this fight. And I'm looking forward to hurting him. I'm looking forward to him. I'm not going to say he's not going to hit me, because he is going to hit me. I may let him hit me. But it's not going to be a war like people think that, you know, he's going to, you know, pick me up. Oh, no.
I've beaten them all. And I'm training especially for this fight. So I'm not going to have as much trouble as people think the day of the fight.
You can see it all live Friday, September 10th, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on pay-per-view. For more details, contact your cable company. I'm Steve Albert, and I'd like to thank you for watching Focus the Fight, Whitaker versus Chavez.